Boom! We are live. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'm Thomas Meadow 75, the ninth guy. And this is your Masters of Beer Reviews with, as I say, a company of 8. The Wild Card Wednesday. You know how this works. Pick a beer and let's talk about it. Anything you want. Featuring Drunken One in the great state of Texas. We got Jesse, aka Bumpy, from New Hampshire.
Hola.
John Anille, back at you again, boys and girls, from the great state of Georgia. Hello, John.
Nice.
Hello, everyone.
We have Michael Kormaroff from Brooklyn, New York.
Hello, as always.
We have Whiskey Scout, blah, 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 Robert Hendricks in the building. Hello, sir. Thanks for stopping by. We have Jay Terrio, Louisiana Beer Reviews.
Howdy.
We have Ronnie S. And we got Shane Fudge down there so we got Ronnie S. We got Shane Fudge down there in Arkansas. Again,
Howdy.
This is Eric Thomas Metal 75, Masters Beer Reviews channel of YouTube. So I say we start left to right just the way that I described it. And we start with Drunken One and say, Drunken One, what are we drinking this evening?
Me first? Why am I always first? All right, why do I always end up on that end? Anyway, so this one here, y'all can't find it because by golly, it's a homebrew. This is a red ale I made about 3 weeks ago. I've had quite a few of them, but they're still damn yummy, and the color is representing pretty well over the camera, so what you see is what you get. It's lost a little bit of its head because we were off air for just a minute, but that's what I got. It's a 6.56% red ale, so it's a bit malty, and so it's yummy and such. And okay, that's me.
Excellente. Very nice. Let's go to Mr. Jesse, aka Bumpy, and his beer for the evening.
Okay, so from Great Divide, they're out of Denver, Colorado. I have their Hercules Double IPA coming in at 10%. Let me go ahead and pour this in the glass so we can actually see what it looks like outside the can.
Excellent.
So pouring it, it does have kind of a light amber to a dark orange look. Builds a nice head. That was a fairly gentle pour too. Fairly tight off-white bubbled head.
Cool.
And there's actually a haze to this too. It's not coming out as a clear.
Hercules.
All right, we'll come right back to Jesse for that review. We do want to get to some of the other panelists, and I do want to know, John Anille, what are we drinking this evening?
All right. Well, I have got the very sought after, the new Pabst Blue Ribbon Extra, 6.5 Hall. This is the Pabst Malt Liquor. That's pretty much what this is.
It's a hell of fun.
I've never had it. I'm excited. Had it in the freezer for a good half hour or so. It's nice and cold. There's your pour. Looks like a good old lager. Nice golden color, some stream of bubbles going up the glass. About a 3.5, 4-finger, creamy looking white head. Looks delicious. So, and PBR is one of my go-to. I mean, it's a standby beer in the John Anille household. So
Nice.
I'm excited about this one. Very excited. If I haven't already mentioned.
Excellent. Nice, John Anille. Very nice. I want to get to Michael Kormaroff in Brooklyn, New York, and see what he's drinking this evening.
Okay, this is what the can looks like. It's Nugget Nectar from Trogs, and this is 7.5%, 93 IBUs. The hops are Nugget, Warrior, Tomahawk, Simcoe, and Palisade. And this is what it looks like in the glass. It's also a red ale. I guess you'd call this Drunken One. This is a hopped red ale.
Okay. All right. Hop red ale. Yeah.
A hoppy red ale, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's good. I'm looking for the recipe.
And I've had a few sips already. I will not describe it yet, but it's quite good.
Awesome.
Jean H. Pierre has arrived in the house.
Kids,
Hello, sir.
Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, gentlemen. Hope you guys had a wonderful, wonderful Mother's Day. Yes. Yes, it's what I'm drinking tonight. Got distracted, doing some nice cars. Yes, Heineken Premium Light was what I'm drinking tonight.
Right.
And yes, after a long day of work, 3.3% beer is what I need. And Jay and John, you can understand, living down here in the Southeast, it gets a little warm in May, and this beer will go great with it.
Yeah. You can drink several of them and that go off balance. Sure. That's awesome.
Yeah, it gets a little warm. You're right.
Yeah, that's right.
Started warming up in January. I've already cut my grass 10 times.
I want to hear. I know he mentioned off air, but I want to hear right now on this camera from our good buddy Whiskey Stout what he is drinking this evening. Or
Wait a minute.
Stout or Stout.
Yeah.
Stout. He's drinking kind of a Stout.
Yeah, whiskey stout Sunday.
Yeah.
That was
He's scouting. He's
Ugh.
looking for whiskey.
okay. I have the Firestone and Walker. It's a limited release. 22. They did this ever since their 10th year in business. So this is their 22nd year. It is 12.7% alcohol by volume. It says anniversary ale on it is what it is. Beer before glory. It's composed of 5 beers, which we discussed prior to all this. The IBUs are all over the place. The highest set is 80. The lowest is 32.5. So I'm going to average it out to probably around high 40s, low 50s in the IBUs.
Yeah.
It's, like I said, it's a limited release, but they did have 2 of these at the store I was in. So I had them for sale up by the counter. So I thought I'd take a chance. It is a dark beer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, if I remember what I read, it is barrel aged, and how did they put that? It still ages in the glass, if I remember right.
Oh, it's a living ale. It has live yeast in it. Okay.
Yeah, I believe that. I remember right there. Don't quote me on that one. I've read too much lately, and I forget. I might have mixed that one up.
Well, that sounds like an epic beer right there. I know we got a lot of panelists, so we do want to try to get through.
What's the brewery? Whiskey Stout. What's the brewery?
Firestone and Walker. They're out of California.
Okay.
And it was a combination of every year they let a group of wine people that are wine blenders. They let them. I don't know if they give them options on choices on the blends to choose, but they get a bunch of blenders together and then I don't know if they give them samples to choose from or if they just let them blend their own and they all decide which one blended the best. I'm not exactly sure the process.
Cool.
You had told us about that before, where they had several different companies that actually got together, several different people, and they're all like wine connoisseurs, and they assembled the blending of this beer.
Yeah, it gives you a list right there at the bottom of the sheet of all the people that was involved in this. I mean, I got to scroll with it.
That's
Jesus.
I feel like I come out of Lord of the Rings. Here's your scroll.
Got a charter there. All right, sweet. Nice. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing about that beer. That sounds really, really, really good. I do want to know about Jay Terrio and his beer choices.
And Jean-Pierre, that company Firestone Walker, they also make tires.
Damn.
When
By the way.
All right. And I hope that I can get that Hellesbach that John Anili has soon. And I did get a locator information on it 15 miles east of me. Well, I have Magnum, and here's the label of Magnum Premium Malt Liquor. It was introduced in 1981. It used to be 6%, but it used to be 6%, but they dropped it to 5.6 sometime in the last 20 years for whatever reason.
Same ABV as Mickey's.
Yeah, it was after the Mickey's buyout, so probably has something to do with the Mickey's buyout. But this malt liquor, this Hellesbach, is it's golden. It's bubbly. It has a white head. I've been drinking it, so it's going down. I got more in the fridge. It was $1.99 for 42 ounces. You know what you're dealing with there. It's
Yeah, copy that. Yeah, right.
An award-winning beer, right?
Well,
it is.
$1.99
Actually,
after all.
it's won exactly one award. You're right.
All right.
Great
Sweet.
American.
All right. Let's see here. We got a full panel. Let me take a little time here. Everybody start drinking if you want.
I already did.
Ronnie S., what we drinking this evening?
That's me. I got I think it's pronounced Lefe. Lefe One.
It's a good one. I like that one.
It's my first time trying it, but I had one already. 6.6 ABV, brewed out of Belgium.
Sweet.
It's good.
All right.
You got to pour it into a glass there.
Oh yeah, so I just poured it right now. I have a little glass here because it says you're supposed to pour it into a chalice, but I actually don't have chalices.
That's
okay. I got a little 12-ounce glass here.
That looks nice.
Yeah.
Right.
It's got a nice color on it.
Sure.
All right. Shane Fudge, what are we drinking this evening?
Bling, 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 bling,
Everybody
bling.
turn your notifications off on Google Hangout if you could.
Yeah.
What, Shane Fudge, what are we drinking this evening?
We got the here we go. Got the Holland brewed Newcastle, and we got the American brewed Newcastle. This one's brewed in Holland. It's 4.7%. You see on the label, and this one is also 4.7%. This one is the date on it is best by September 2019 for the Holland, and this one has a Lagunitas puts them up here on the neck, and it's hard to see, but I can see through it that it's a expiration date of February of 2020.
Damn. All right.
So I don't know when this one was brewed at all. I don't know when this one. I don't know what kind of shelf life either one of them give on these, but they're both 4.7%. I've been curious. I actually found a 12-pack of these and a 6-pack of these. So I thought, well, I better try these just in case these disappear, because I used to drink these all the time. I mean, this used to be my go-to way back. One of the beers that helped get me into craft beer. So I poured them already to save, and I've already labeled the bottoms here. I can't show them to you because I'll pour it all over myself. But this one is the Holland one. I'm going to shuffle them here in a minute, but I thought I'd let you see. I'm not going to look at the colors because I think you can see the difference in the color.
Yes, certainly.
This is the Holland.
This is much darker.
This is the Holland brewed. You can, it's a little, you can see, a little light through it. And here is the Lagunitas brewed. It's a lot darker, isn't it?
Yes.
Huh.
And head retention, when I poured them, the American head stayed a little longer. It was a little more creamy, more puffy and cloudy, on top. And this one dissipated a little quicker. I don't know if that's due to age. I have no idea how old either one of these are. They're both fresh. I've drank both of these already, but not side by side. So that's what I'm anxious to see if I can make a pass of myself again on the challenge here. But I think these challenges are fun. I thought I'd do it. I don't have a channel. I thought I would share it with you guys, and then hopefully I'll see some of you guys that have channels get a challenge like this too. So I'm going to mix these up before I taste them now, though, or smell them.
All right.
Would that be the right way to do a challenge? I don't smell them first, right, Jay?
Yeah, you want to totally mix them up, and you can't look.
Okay.
See,
You gotta close your eyes.
Yeah.
color is too.
Yeah, I'm going to try to keep my eyes here.
Yeah, the color is different. So if you look, you'll give it away. And
I'm going to move my camera.
And
Well,
one
no,
more
I
thing.
don't want to see it.
one more thing, I like on the new Lagunitas labels, it says, what's that sound?
It's the glasses.
That's me.
Oh, the glasses. Yeah.
rolled up.
I'll
On the label, it says, teaching an old dog new tricks is not impossible, but it's uncommon.
Mm.
I like how they stated that on their label.
Just while Shane is getting them all nice and mixed up, I am drinking. Maybe we should kind of do this in an abridged way since we have so many people. Maybe we don't want to go too in depth, but give us a general rundown and your letter grading and score if you want towards the end of your little statement.
Good idea. That's a good idea, Eric.
Mine is from Waltham, Massachusetts, the Mighty Squirrel Brewing Company. This is their Cloud Candy. It's kind of cloudy looking in the camera for some reason. It's a New England double dry hopped IPA, style IPA. 6.5% alcohol, Citra Mosaic, and Amarillo hops. So, I say since Shane is going about Newcastle, go back to Shane.
I think I've got them pretty well. I haven't looked at them and try to keep staring and try to do like Jay, look up. But I'm going to go ahead and give this one a nose. I'll shut my eyes. What you expect in Newcastle, you all probably have had it. That roasty malt, caramel. Yeah, toast. I get a little bit of a dark fruit in there, a little bit of raisin maybe. There's some citrus notes in this too, like a lemongrass type of, just a slight. It's not overwhelming or anything. Maybe it's in the hops, a little bitterness. Yeah, it smells pretty rich. It's pretty nice. I'm going to give the other one a nose here. Or do we taste it next?
Go ahead, give them the nose and then taste them both. And
yeah,
right. You're going to guess it. I know you're going to get it right.
Yeah, right.
No, you will. You will.
This one's a little thinner smelling. Not quite as much of a mouthfeel, maybe. I don't know. I haven't tasted it yet, but it's not as heavy smelling. Not quite. It's maybe a little bit more watered down. It smells very similar to it, but it's maybe a little bit more watered down. Yeah, you get the roasted, toasted malts, a little bit of dark raisin, a little bit of raisin or dark fruit of some sort. The citrus is maybe not quite as pronounced in this one either, maybe a little less hot. They both have the earthiness about them too.
All right.
Yeah, all right. So they're very similar. One it just smells a little thinner, so I'm going to expect it probably to be a thinner taste. Let's go back to the first one. I've got my eyes closed and not looking. Yeah, I get a lot of, once I smell it again, like it almost smells like Cheerios. Like grainy. Like honey nut Cheerios.
Right. That's a good descriptor. Right. Cheerios, he says.
See what it tastes like.
I like Cheerios. That's a good cereal.
Cheerios is good. All right, right, yeah.
Cheers with honey on them.
Cheers, Shane.
Cheers. That's nice. Okay, it's very creamy mouthfeel. I swash it around in my mouth a little bit to build up the carbonation in my mouth and let it release right there on the tongue and the palate. Yeah, a lot of the smells that I'm getting on the palate too when I taste it.
Right.
The raisins aren't as heavy on the taste, but the mouthfeel is pretty nice on this. I like this one. I'm gonna taste the other one. Yeah, it's still a little thinner smelling.
I love tasting it.
A little bit more water smelling.
All right. Cheap bastards.
Sorry about that. Cheers. Okay, now I get a little bit more of the lemon in this one. Not as much of the dark fruit. Definitely lighter. It's not as creamy. This is more watery.
Yes. Yeah.
Initially, off these two, the taste and smell right now, if I had to call it right now, just on those initial knee-jerk reaction, I would say this one is the lighter and the Holland brewed one. And this one right here, I would say I got my eyes closed. I'm not looking. I don't know if you can see it or not. But I would say this one right here would be the darker one. I don't know if that's what you guys are seeing because I have my eyes closed. But
from here, they look like the same color.
Man, this taste challenge is like watching Rocky 2.
Apollo Creed. Everybody knows he beat Rocky in the first one. Rocky beat him in the first fight.
Yeah.
If you want me to come back to this, or you want me to try to reveal it now?
No, keep going.
Because you just like Rocky, you just beat Apollo Creed.
Keep going. Yeah, everyone.
Keep it up, man.
Rock on.
I definitely get it more. It's more like Honey Nut Cheerio smell in this.
Right. It's got a specific brand, right? It's Honey Nut
Yeah, it really is. It takes the sense of smell. It's a very strong one.
Lagunitas does not disappoint in any of their beers. Does not disappoint.
Yeah, and the price point is excellent. Lagunitas has always had a great price point.
Oh, yeah.
They
Agreed.
represent well, and their prices are
Of
very
course,
good.
under the guidance of this company too. Now,
Yeah.
It is indeed. Yep.
So
What's the conclusion?
I'm gonna open my eyes right now. But the one I had in this hand, my left hand, was the one that felt heavier, tasted had a little bit more flavor to it overall. And the one I had in my right hand was definitely a thinner taste. They're both they're very similar, but they're the nuance and the subtleness in it is very different. You put them next to, you can tell there is definitely a difference. I think it's largely in the mouthfeel, and I may be totally off on this, but I'm just going off what my tongue is telling me right now, and my nose, and so. Man, these challenges are fun, but they're hard. They're a lot more difficult than if you've never done one.
Oh, yeah.
Try it. They're fun to do.
Boom.
Hear
We're
this.
live. Shane Fudge, everybody. Drinking both brew versions of the.
So who won the taste challenge?
Well, I mean, y'all want me to go ahead and do it now? Or
Declare the winner now.
Might as well.
Here now.
Can't wait.
All right. Here we go. Let's see.
He's got to go in again. Bear with us, folks. He's thinking.
Yeah, more flavors. I'm gonna say I like. Oh man, I don't know. It's a horrible job. Somebody's got to do it.
It's a difficult decision. You got to make sure you get it right.
Right?
There's a lot of pressure, man.
A lot of pressure.
I'm gonna say
I got a taste challenge coming up tomorrow morning, and I've been distressed over that. Nah.
it's not a big deal. It's just beer. Anybody
It's just beer.
makes fun of you for it, they need to try and do it themselves and see if they can do it
Yeah.
themselves.
Indeed.
But I'm gonna say this one right here. This one is the American. This one's the Holland. So let's see. This is a USA.
Ooh.
Cheers,
This
USA.
one's a Holland.
Being in the panel. Cheers to 10,000.
Right.
10,000.
I did it. I did it.
Yes.
Cheers.
Good job, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, going down Redemption Road.
Excellent. Yeah.
Cheers to that.
If people have been drinking some beer, been sipping some beers, been thinking about some beers, if I call out your name and you want to do a little assessment on your beer, be very ready to.
Eric, I can do it. I can do
We're on
it.
top of our game, baby. We're on top of our
Yeah.
game.
I'm gonna go and say,
20 seconds, Eric. I can do it.
let's hear about your beer, Mike.
Okay, my beer, which again is the Trogs Nugget Nectar, very malty nose. It's malt up front. John, you would like this one. Very
Is it malt
malty,
forward?
malt forward, and it's 93 IBUs. You can't really the hops are more in the background. They're not up front, but in the taste, the hops are much more pronounced, and it's a bitter beer, but the malt blunts the 93 IBUs. You wouldn't think it was 93. You probably think it's more in the 60s, maybe low 70s, but still, it's definitely a hoppy beer. And as you can see, the head has kind of subsided to the point.
Oh, I like that glass. You got a Blue Point glass?
It's a Blue Point glass.
I was just at that brewery the other day.
Did you have a good time?
Yeah, they got a brand new brewery. They just opened it up a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, great.
Beer I can't get. Beer I can't get.
Now, Michael, is that a beer that I might be able to get here in Georgia, or is that more of a local thing?
Trogs is a beer from Pennsylvania. I don't think it has national distribution, but you can
And
look
you
it
got
up.
that at the co-op.
Troegs. Trogs.
But I
Look it up.
did find Troganator down here once. Troganator. So it can be.
Hershey, Pennsylvania, where Hershey chocolate used to be made before they moved to Mexico.
What's your
First and
overall impression of said Trogs Nugget Nectar?
I think it's
They
excellent.
still got Hershey
I
Park
think
up
it's
there.
excellent. I'll give you a number shortly.
Okay, you'll give us a number
How do
shortly.
you like me now, buddy? How do you like me now? I'll give you my number shortly. So.
All right, we'll come back to Michael Komarov. I want to go to our good buddy up in New Hampshire, Bumpy, Mr. Jesse. He's got the Hercules beer, Great Divide. He's ready to tell us in his 15-point inspection review. Yeah.
So you want me to give my overall everything, my score and everything, right?
Right ahead. Yeah, let's hear it. Go for it.
We'll run right through it. So the aromas I was getting off it, there was a sweet smell coming up. I'm guessing it's from the malt mostly. It is 10%. A little bit of a floral note, piney, and there's like some kind of fruity smell. After a while of smelling it, it kind of decided it might be like a passion fruit. And then also as it sits, I can't say as it warms, but as it like opens up in the glass, you start to get a slight alcohol aroma as well. For the flavor, the malt kind of get like a grainy flavor. And then it's pretty much just straight up piney as far as the hop flavor. And then there is a noticeable amount of alcohol that carries up behind that. And does leave you with a nice burn in the chest. Bitterness throughout the drink. It kind of starts off light when you get in that piney note and stuff, but then it kind of builds and it just lingers on throughout the mouth. So my breakdown, and I won't go through like all the little things, I'll just keep it short. So out of the 5 different things I'm looking at, make sure it's
20
5.
seconds.
Yep, appearance. 1 out of 6. I gave it a 4. The aroma, 1 out of 10. I gave it a 7. Flavor, 1 out of 19. I gave it a 10. I could go back and break all these down later if you want, but body, it has a pretty full body. Oh, carbonation, I didn't even mention that. Very light carbonation, fairly hefty body to it. So I think the body definitely matches up to a double IPA, so I gave that the full 5 out of 5. Drinkability, 1 out of 10. This is one that I probably wouldn't want to actually go back to and purchase again. I'll finish the 6-pack I have, but I gave it a 6. So a 6 out of 10 for drinkability. So overall score out of 50 gets a 32, which would put this into a like bottom end very good. So in an ABC scale, it would be like a B- beer.
Okay, marginally good. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Bumpy, two better.
Jesse, is your B- like an 82 out of 100? What number grade would you give it?
Out of 100.
Out of 100.
82 sounds like a good number.
Does that sound fair?
Yeah. I mean, to put this, it's something.
2 out of 50 will probably be like a.
It's decent, but it's not.
That'd be like going to churches.
Yeah, that would be fair. I'd say like an 80 and 82, 100 maybe.
Hey, you gotta try a beer. No, think of the beer. You can just judge that book by its cover. So that is a really awesome review. I do want to go over to Jean. Yeah, let's go to Jean Henderson Pierre and talk a little bit about what you drink in that Heineken Light.
Correct. I'm drinking Heineken Light. Yeah, Heineken Light tonight, 3.3%. Some websites say it's 4.2, but I don't see that. But it is what it is. It is Heineken, but half of what it is in terms of it's more watery. The same flavor, same texture of your regular Heineken, but more watery, more easy drinking. Again, I think there are other the price for it maybe a bit high. I paid $8.98 for this at the grocery store, plus tax. I think there are other light beers, with their lower ABV, that I think are a lot better. Some of them are American made. Amstel, not American made, but Amstel was one of them. But whether it be Old Milwaukee Light or Budweiser Select 55. But if you're someone who is looking to drink extremely lighter beers, on days like this, and you do not want to get, tore up, then this is something that you can have. And this would be great to go with some grilled seafood, or, that's the only thing I think I could pair this beer with. But that is my score. I'm going to give this score a B-. That would be an 8 or 7 or 8, 7.98 score for this Heineken Light.
All right, sweet. That sounds like a
Short and sweet. Keeping it short and sweet.
That sounds interesting. Yeah, why not? Cool. We got to check in with Mr. Whiskey Scout Robert Hendricks. He's got a very interesting Firestone Walker beer to describe to us. And Whiskey Scout, you have the floor, sir.
All right. When I was trying to tell you guys how they did it, how they made the choice, I was reading on the back of the box, and I'll just read it real quick so you guys have an understanding of what I was trying to say.
We understood.
Oh, you sure? Well, what happened was the winemakers are practicing experts at the art of blending. And what they did was it was actually each of the winemakers broke into teams, did their own blends, and then they voted as a whole on each one of the individual teams' blends.
Like an
that
contest.
Yeah, that's how they arrived at their blend they chose for this year. And they do it every year since 12 years ago. It was 2006, I think, if I remember right. Anyway, the beer itself, it's very dark, as you guys can see. And it never really developed much of a head, but it keeps that ring of foam, and there's little fine bubbles right around the edge where the ambient air temperature on the outside is cooling. And it just keeps that ring. That ring never dissipates, and it keeps bubbling right there. Not in the middle, but just right there where the glass air interface is with the beer itself. We got dark chocolate. We got rich maltiness. There's a caramel note in there. It very much in the dates side of things. I get a very dated note in it. And at the very end, when everything's starting to subside in the back of the palate, there is a ginger. There is a light ginger note comes through. It's very complex. I mean, it's got composed of 5 different barrels. So the complexity is probably more complex than my palate can really define. But this is it's very interesting. Every sip is really rather interesting on it. I enjoy it. Actually, it's very intriguing beer. And if I have to give it a score for Michael there, I would give this a 97 out of 100. This is the highest scored beer I think I've ever had.
Wow, nice to bring it to Massachusetts Beer Reviews channel YouTube on a Wednesday of all things.
Nice. You know, he had the KBS on Sunday. That was one of the highest rated beers he had. Now he's got this one here, and you just drinking world class beer, Robert. I'm jealous.
That is good. Cheers.
Is KBS considered a world class beer?
Beers I would never have bought.
It is indeed. Cheers.
These are beers I would never have bought if I'd never started knowing you guys.
Damn. Yeah.
Cheers to that, man.
Cheers. Yeah, exactly. Cheers
to you, Robert Hendricks. Whiskey.
Can I go next while my head is still big?
You know what? Go right ahead, Mr.
Cheers.
Everyone's got a big head.
That's what they say. Mine is a homebrew. This has got some excellent glass lacing. I can tell you, of course, you're not going to be able to get this because it's not mass produced, but I'll give you a quick rundown because I know there's a lot of people on the panel. Everybody wants to talk. So anyway, what goes into this beer is some a bunch of Irish pale, some light crystal, some brown, and some amber, and the hops are Fuggles. This is a homebrew I did a couple of weeks ago. It's just now gotten carbonated really nice, and it's got nice glass lacing, and the color represents well on the camera. It looks the same way on the camera as what it does here. It's
nice.
Kind of medium in body, and it doesn't have a whole lot of hop presence because it's not meant to. It's a red ale, so it's got the multi flavor. And it's damn yummy. I'm trying to get this out of the way because there's a lot of contestants on here. My overall rating on this beer is about like an 82. You know, it's not world renowned. It's not the best beer I've ever brewed, but it's a damn tasty beverage. And cheers to the beers. Yeah, right.
Cheers to the drunken one.
And that's mine. Okay, I'll
in red ale. I think we call
Yeah. A nice red ale. It's a
It,
beautiful.
it looks nice, man.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Why not?
And yeah,
Yeah. I gotta get home, bro. I gotta do it. But until that time, John Anile, you have the floor. If we didn't get to you already.
Ron, yeah, that's cool. Ron, if you want to go real quick, I know you're ready. I just poured another one, so I'm gonna let the head die down for just a second. So if you want
You
to,
may go, Ron. Cheerio. With
let it be known real quick that John Anelli is my hero.
well, all right. You're a hero.
Louisiana beer reviews.
I'm just teasing. Got love.
Your time.
I'm just teasing. I'm giving this
Safety first with Magnum malt liquor.
I think that Drunken One's red ale sounds like something I'd really like to try. Okay, so while everybody was talking, I was listening.
Thank you, sir.
I was like Henry Hill. I was like Henry Hill in Goodfellas. I'm just listening.
You love that movie, huh?
I like that movie.
I've seen
It's
it.
classic. It's a classic.
So you don't talk much. You don't eat much. All right.
I'm just listening.
Okay, so I wrote some notes. The nose and the flavor is similar. The nose and the flavor are similar. What you pick up is sweet bread. You know, it'd be a white bread. A touch of yeast with grass. You know, and when you get grass, that's telling you what it's probably noble hops like a Hallertau Mittelfrüh or a Saaz hops type situation. After all, it is a Helles Bock. Oh, I'm sorry, a malt liquor.
Jean H. Pierre knows what the hell a Doppelbock is, right? Jean H. Pierre?
Yeah, well, this is not a Doppelbock. This is just a Bock. Get a medium body. A Helles Doppelbock would be something like an Abita Andigator or a Steel Reserve 211.
Or Spaten Optimator.
8.1% adjunct Doppelbock. A Spaten Optimator, which is not a Helles, it's a Dunkel, a Doppelbock. All right, but anyway, the body's medium and with a prickly carbonation and has a crisp, meaning a dry finish. And my score was an A-, which brings us down to the number is 91 out of 100. Now that might sound incredible or ridiculous.
too low.
Huh?
Too low, maybe.
It's too low. Magnum, I love the Magnum. That's a solid A in my book.
Is it? You like the Magnum?
Well,
Right?
that's his.
Yeah, Jay, a pretty cool guy. He brought me a big old 42-ounce bottle one time, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I think
Nice.
for the price point, $1.99 for 42 ounces, and you're getting a 91 out of 100 with the grassy hop notes and the and a lot of people think malt liquor, they think overly sweet, you know, cloying, stomach turning, and all. No, it's none of those things. It's none of those things. It's really, in some ways, one of the better American lagers you can buy. So that's the story.
Yeah, the malt liquor. Sure. All right.
Boom.
Fair.
You heard it first.
Oh, and Eric, can I plug something under 10 seconds?
Hopefully. Yes.
Gosh, you know there's.
I mean, may I? I'm sorry. Yeah, I can, but may I? All right.
Oh man, you sound like my third grade teacher.
I like your
Tomorrow morning at 6:30 Eastern. At 6:30 Eastern, I got a 4-year age Bellows blended American whiskey.
Better wake up.
10 million alcoholics, can't be wrong. And versus Beams 8-star.
Oh, he's got the bell. Robert Hendricks got the
Robert's got the Bellows there too.
Robert.
I sense a future examination coming up.
Yeah.
No, this is the Kentucky straight bourbon. This ain't the blended.
Oh,
Oh, he's got the bourbon aged too
You ain't got
long
much
years.
left in there, Ron.
Huh?
You don't got much left there.
No, I've been taste challenging it to the hilt. So that's coming up.
I've been not with you, sir. He's telling to get to the hill.
Ron has been seriously tasting it.
He's been working it down, baby.
Working.
Hey, stay challenging is not easy. Somebody's got to do it.
With all
Somebody's got to do it. That's what. Well, anyway, thank you for letting me present that. That's coming up to 6:30 Eastern time.
All right.
Yes, sir. We'll be sure to attend. Thank you so much, Ron.
Yeah. John Anilla. Before Ron like snorts some whiskey, John, get going with your review.
All right. So,
We love you, Jay.
You're drinking. What's the name of your beer, Eric?
My beer. Oh, you want? Oh, my beer.
Oh yeah. What about your beer? Damn it.
Yeah, what do you got?
Is
Hey.
Candy, right?
Wait. I didn't bring it up for him to interject above you. I just wanted him. He's drinking cloud candy. Well, hey, I got nose candy.
Oh, that's where we're going with that.
Right. Are we 18 and older
All right,
here?
well,
But
John,
Steve, but hey,
Kennedy back to
Stevie
the
Nicks
21 and
doesn't
older,
have,
don't you?
hey,
All right.
Stevie Nicks does not have nose candy, so.
Yeah, we don't do that.
different
shit.
kind of nose candy there, John.
We
All right.
don't do that shit here.
Oh, really? I'll go really quick here. I
take your
poured
time.
my second one. There was a lot of really nice lacing as I drank down the first one.
Mhm.
Let me just say real quick, Michael, you would not like this beer, but Jean, Ron, I think Ron, yes, and definitely Drunken when he was sipping on those Natty Daddies not
Oh
not
yeah, baby.
long ago.
okay.
Anyway, this is very malt liquor like. It has a very malt liquor type aroma. You get the barley malt. You get a little bit of like a mixed vegetal thing. It actually smells very similar to Mickey's malt liquor to me. That's the first thing I thought of when I got an aroma on it was Mickey's malt liquor.
John, did you pick up any banana in that?
Oh,
Are you
banana.
getting the banana notes? The banana
No,
notes?
I'm not getting any banana with this one. I'm getting maybe some corn and like some cooked greens. Honestly, that's kind of what I'm getting.
Sorry.
You get the barley malt.
You said greens, like collard greens? Like collard greens?
Like
You're from
I don't
Georgia.
know, like-
You're from Georgia. You know what collard greens are,
it's got an interesting smell. If you've ever had Mickey's malt liquor or even Miller High Life to a lesser degree, that's kind of what you get with this one.
Oh yeah,
And really, the only way I know how to describe it is like a mixed vegetal type aroma. And I know Jay knows what I'm talking about.
Oh yes.
And a lot anybody that's really gotten into malt liquor and stuff, you know, they you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, it smells really good. It does have a distinct little hop aroma. It kind of lets you know that it's Pabst. It's got that Pabst hop aroma. And as much as I've had Pabst, I don't know. It's just kind of one of those things that you pick up on if you're a big Pabst drinker.
Yeah.
But it smells really good. The alcohol is masked well, but it does smell like a malt liquor. So cheers.
What beer are you having, John? Again?
Oh yeah, John, you were late to the party. I've got the new PBR
the Pabst.
Extra.
Okay.
I've never
Hopefully it'll be coming down my way because all we have right now is PBR and the PBR Easy.
Yeah, the
Right.
easy is
Right.
not so great.
copy that. I don't see it here either.
I saw it today for the first time and my jaw dropped. It is an immaculate day in beer history for John and Ellie. I got to try
Did you actually look it up, John?
Today. I got to try the Monk's Flemish Red, Monk's
Yeah.
Cafe Flemish Red on draft. Two of my favorite beers of all time on draft today at Taco Mac, which I think I posted on Facebook Messenger earlier. I took a few pictures, but anyway, I tried the Wicked Weed Watermelon Goza. All three excellent. I actually had to cancel my last appointment with my last patient because I actually went to the Taco Mac to drink a few beers and just kind of sit around and wait for this guy to get back from his dialysis, and he never showed up. So I was like, you know what? I think I've had too many beers. I should just go home.
It's his loss.
I look forward to seeing those reviews, John. All of them, particularly the PBR Extra. You know.
So yeah,
I'm praying it comes down here in my area here in Alabama.
As you can see, as I'm drinking down on the second one, look at that beautiful lacing on here. This is a nice beer.
Sexy
it
beer,
tastes
John.
like a standard malt liquor. There's no alcohol presence. It doesn't taste like a, Still Reserve 8.1 or a even the Natty Daddy 8%. It's malt liquor light, but it's like a standard malt liquor. King Cobra, Mickey's, that type of thing. And it does have a nice little hop bite to balance it out on the finish, which a lot of malt liquors seem to lack, in my opinion. But this one has a little bit of a hop kick on the finish that reminds me of the original PBR, which I really like. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this is just an ice-brewed version of PBR. I really don't know much about how they make this beer, but
extra about it.
it's very enjoyable. As for a rating for the style, for what this beer is, I think it's a solid A. I'm going to go with a 95 out of 100.
Whoa.
All right.
I really you guys are going to be, I know Jay and John and possibly a Drunken One. I know you guys are going to like it. Ronnie S., I think you'll like this too.
I looked it up online where they're at, and there's a beer distributor right down the road. I just haven't gotten there yet.
I haven't seen it, but I'll sure pick it up, man. That does sound entertaining.
And hey, it's a great price. It was $9.99 for the 12-pack.
I'm game for that.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll pay like $15.99 where I'm at.
My language, I'm in.
You want to hear about?
Me want to go get a Colt 45 tonight once I leave here. I'll stop and get a Colt 45 before I go home.
Is it comparable to the Colt 45, John, or is it better?
It's comparable to the Colt 45 in the flavor profile. It's got more alcohol, but as far as the taste goes, it does taste like a standard malt liquor. So yes, it is pretty comparable to that.
Colt 45 is 5.6, and this one is 5.9. So. But of course, Colt 45 and PBR Extra all in the same family. Just this
afternoon, I was looking at the beers, and it was like there was a Hurricane, or it was a Colt 45, whatever. It was a big badass glass bottle of malt liquor. I probably should have picked that up just for fun's sake. There's nothing wrong with those. I drink them my damn self. Maybe I should.
There is nothing wrong. There's beer.
Let me say this.
Hey, the malt liquors are awesome too, man. There's nothing wrong with malt liquor.
Let me say this. Jay knows this. When he and Dave did that Colt 45 review, or rehash, whatever it was, and how Dave was saying how it has a sort of a hot presence. I mean, he was really just raving about Colt 45. And Jay, you may remember that video, right? Y'all did. He was Dave was going on and on how great Colt 45 was and how awesome it was, and from time to time I will get it because it reminds me of what Dave was saying, and Colt 45 is not one of my favorites. I'd rather go get a Mickey's before I get a Colt 45, but since that conversation that you all had, that video, I was like, maybe the way they were producing the beer, the way it was kind of making it have a sort of a the way he was describing it, sort of like a craft beer taste to it. I don't know. I mean, he was just really raving about that Colt 45.
Jean, one time he called me, and it was 5:30 in the morning, and he said, "Excuse me," and he took a gulp, and I said, "What?" He said, "Oh, I'm drinking Colt 45." I said, "It's kind of early, huh?" He took exception to that.
What? Look who's talking.
It was just so much with the 6 o'clock in the morning.
I'm telling you, it's kind of early.
He was drinking it though. Ron only does he does tastings that early, but he doesn't drink.
Thank you.
Whatever. It's still boozing your body.
I'm really curious about what Ronnie S thinks about Left Strong.
Right, I am too.
All right. So this is my first time trying it. I think this is my third bottle. I had a couple already, but I like it a lot. It's got a great smell to it. Like a really, really great smell. It's like there's no bananas, but there's good stuff in here. You can say it has a bread smell, the bread, some sweetness and all that stuff to it. It smells really good. It reminds me a lot of the Weihenstephaner Vitus.
Oh, Vita. Oh, the Vitas, yeah.
Yeah, Vitas. I guess it's about the same type of style. I think that's made in where is that made, Ron?
The Weihenstephaner Vitas?
Yeah,
In Bavaria.
Bavaria, and this is made in Belgium. I think it's around kind of the same style. It even tastes kind of the same. But I mean, at least to me. But I think it's great. This is a really good beer. I like it a lot, and I definitely buy it again.
What would you rate that bad boy?
Oh, right. Yeah. Thomas is.
I will rate it a 92 out of 100.
All right. And how much does that cost before you bought it?
Ronnie.
I bought this for I think it was.
I said Thomas. I meant Mike.
I think it was $9.99 a 6-pack.
I mentioned that because I believe that the Leffe line of beers are InBev from Belgium beers.
Well, you know, I read it, and it says it doesn't say brewed by what is it called? AB InBev. It says NV InBev. Do you know what NV stands for?
Negative.
No, but wait, I can explain that a little bit.
Yes.
Okay.
2 points. 2 points.
Yes.
First, Leff is made with corn flakes, flaked maize, or flaked maize. Well, this is very common in Belgium to use corn. So that's a no-no in Germany, but we ain't not talking about Germany. We're talking about Belgium. So they also use candy sugar, another no-no in Germany, but it's totally acceptable in Belgium. Here's the story. The Abbey at Leff, you know, it's an Abbey. It's Catholic.
Right. It's from like 1240 or something like that. It said.
It's very old, very old. So they used to sell beer to raise money for the Abbey, right? Then, if you read the website carefully, Anheuser-Busch InBev, well, at that time it was called Ambev. You know, it was a European company, and then it became Anheuser-Busch InBev over time. But that company said, well, we'll make a deal with you. Well, we'll produce the beer because they have a lot better capability to produce it in a mass quantity and sell it around the world. We'll produce it, and then we just give you a cut of the profits, and you can keep your brewery. You know, it's like a license. They have a license to produce Leff, and then they give them a cut of it. And so the Abbey gets a lot of money every year from this big sales of the Leff Brune, the Leff Blonde that he's drinking. And it's the same kind of situation with Christian Brothers. The Christian Brothers license their brandy out to Heaven Hill for them because they used to do it on their own. But I think it was easier for them to just let a big distillery do it and give them a percentage of the profits. Okay, that's it.
Sure.
So you don't know why it says NV InBev instead of AB InBev?
I just did a quick search online and I couldn't find anything very.
Well, NZ that stands for New Zealand, right?
Be like a registration for it over in Europe, some kind of way, because there's different subsidiaries of Anheuser-Busch InBev. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Right.
I'm going to get to my beer here very fast, and then as we close out the video, I do want to have a little brief discussion on a major piece of beer news that I know everybody has heard about here. But
yeah, right.
you
I think I know what it is, Eric. I think I know what it is.
Yeah, we'll discuss and have our own opinions from the panel here. Cloud from Mighty Squirrel Brewing Company, Waltham, Massachusetts, which is a tiny, itty bitty, teeny weeny north of the metropolitan area of Boston, Massachusetts. Double dry hopped New England style IPA, Citra Mosaic Amarillo, 6.5%. No date is on the can, but tastes pretty fresh to me. So I've been drinking on this thing, and as you can see, lacing, not a whole bunch of it, but lacing has been prevalent. So there was some substantial amount of head, not a whole bunch to it. As I've gotten more down towards the bottom of a can, like you do with these New England style beers and these hazy New England IPAs, you get more of a spicier yeasty component to it. I get so much pineapple and so much grapefruit, and then some orangey notes underneath that. Sweet bready malts, a little bit toasty, definitely tropical juice throughout the entirety of the drink. A little bit dank, but not too dank with some hop oils, but yeah,
That sounds good.
definitely. Yeah, definitely. When you drink it, it's like between IPA and pale ale. If one company brewed this and called it a pale ale, I'd be fine with that. They call it an IPA, that's fine. Again, at this point, I'm getting the spicy hop or the spicy yeast component to this beer. I'm getting lots of pineapple, lots of grapefruit, some orange underneath, some toasty, almost crackery, pilsnery kind of malts to it. There is some of the fluffiness to like either like wheat or some oats in there. Definitely a straight up medium, maybe even a touch watery, but the touch watery for me is great because it's got a good, as we say in Massachusetts, a good friggin' drinkability. Pretty dry for what it is. It's a little bit for 6.5, just for me personally. Not that I dislike that fact. It's a little bit on the dank bold side, which is fine though. A little bit
I
on
love that.
the side, but not too bad. It's not like a hemp type New England style IPA. It's not that dank. And as I finish the glass of this orange juice, basically, I mean, maybe I got to be honest with the review. So if Michael Komarov in his journal wants to write 90 out of 100 down, I'll let him do that. This is like the low end of amazing, but I still think that this is a nice hidden gem out there. It definitely has that cloud, pillowy, fluffy kind of mouthfeel. I think that's what they're calling it, and that's what they're trying to sort of say about the beer. So yeah, definitely 6.5. It's not going too crazy anywhere, but if you want to explore some other higher ABV, bigger mouthfeel New England IPAs after drinking this beer, and maybe you've never tried anything bigger than this, you might become interested in it. And it's not such a big, bold beer, but it does have some boldness to scare you away from this beer. So I think 90 is just about appropriate. And I don't know, if you've never had New England IPA, you're probably living under a rock in beer culture right now. So
Eric, I have the last number to give because I didn't give my number after my description. So I'm going to give the Trogs Nugget Nectar a 93, which is a solid A.
And what do you think could be improved on the beer, if anything?
Let's see.
More nuggets, more nectar.
It's hard. I don't know, it's hard to. When you're talking about a hoppy red ale, it's an extremely good one. I don't know how you could really improve it. Maybe if this was a fresher can, it might be better. Because this one, the date that it's good until, it doesn't have a born on date, but the date that it's good until is only the 15th of this month, which is today. So I guess you're right on the edge of what it is. Maybe these type hops, if you had this more fresh when it was first brewed, maybe it would be a little bit better.
No, so Michael, I noticed like a lot of like the larger breweries are doing that whole like they're good until date. They have the best by date versus the born on date, which a lot of the smaller craft breweries do. Actually, Great Divide does have the born on date. This one's a month old, but I was just wondering, why some places might go towards that. That's kind of something that the big three do, and they leave those beers on the shelf for a good year sometimes. So.
Well, IPAs are much more sensitive than something like this red ale would be, because it seems like even if it has similar hops in it, the malt is so strong here, it does tone down the hops. Maybe the hops would be more prevalent earlier if you had it right after it's brewed. That's possible.
But you would you still give it a good recommendation.
I'm giving it a strong recommendation. If you can, and the good thing about this for me at the food co-op, because it was getting so close to the date, this beer would normally be like $2. I got it for $1.01. This one can.
Wow. $1.01.
Yeah, because they mark stuff down when it gets close to the date. Because once it gets past the date, people won't buy it.
That's a good price, Michael, for $1.
I understand that. I get a lot of benefits from that at my local store too, Michael.
So the co-op is sensitive to the fact that the beer has to be as fresh as it can. It has to come through a distributor anyway, so it can't be, super fresh. I get super fresh stuff from 6 Point by going right to the brewery. Other than that, most of the stuff I have takes more time.
Gotcha. So,
well, Eric, I got to roll out of here.
All right. We are going to talk about some brew news for a tiny bit, and then we'll call it a wrap here. But
cheers, Ron.
Jay Terrio, Louisiana Beer Reviews. Watch him at 6 a.m., and he's going to do a taste comparison of some whiskeys.
And my opinion is, you're right, too loud. My opinion is that I don't like all the loud noise, but I think
Ronnie,
the buyouts don't bother me because, look, I tried to tell people this 20 years ago. They kept talking about, oh, this company got bought out. This company got bought out, like that was some kind of unusual thing. And I tried to tell them, this is the nature of the game. If companies were not being bought out, that would be unusual. For beer, wine, and liquor companies to get bought out every month and a half or 2 months, that's common. That's normal. This is not unusual. Okay? So whether you like it or not, you just get used to it because this has been going on for hundreds of years, okay?
Yes, sir.
It's only at the end of the day, it's all about trying to make reaching a new market. And for, I guess, Eric, if I don't want to spoil it for you, but if you mind me saying it,
do it.
Yeah, if you mind me saying it, that's the main reason why Dogfish got involved with with Boston Beer Company and Jim Cook. It's all about distribution. If I can reach, I'm sure, Jay, you get Dogfish beers in Louisiana.
Yes, for the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, well, but if I can reach, Texas and Arizona and further out west, which I'm sure those folks get Sam Adams, why not?
Now Sam Adams and Boston and Sam Adams and Dogfish Head both have pretty good distribution. Let's be honest here. The real reason for the merger is because these guys are already pretty wealthy, but they want to get really stinking filthy rich. That's what this is about.
Right. And well, there's more to it. I think.
Well, hey, don't you?
It's
more power to them. Why not?
So what they did they did a $300 million merger, which is expected to close late in the second quarter of this year, and this is according to NPR. And again, they say it's valued at about $300 million in cash and stock, and they say the company's founders say the merger is going to help. And I want to know Drunken One's opinion on this. They say the company's founders say the merger is going to help the craft brewers compete in an industry that is seeing rapid consolidation. And they say industry giants have been acquiring smaller breweries. For example, AB InBev now owns Goose Island and Golden Rose Brewer.
I'm not sure how that deals with the craft brewers or the original home brewers or whatever. Look, I know that they're taking over a bunch of breweries, and they've actually taken over the ones who supply our grains when it comes to like Mid-South and Midwest, whatever it's called. Anyway, they've taken over a lot of stuff. So as long as they don't change the products or the price, whatever, I don't care. It really has nothing to do with me. But as long as they haven't changed our products or the prices, whatever, they're going to do what they're going to do. They're going to do what they're going to do. Just don't change.
I think, right. That's a good point.
I brew because it's cheap. I brew because it's very fresh. It's awesome beer. It's a badass red ale. I was giving that my review on it a while ago. But look at the lacing on the glass. This is a badass red ale. And I'm going to continue to home brew, and it's nothing to do with I don't like normal beers or whatever. But I'm going to do what I can do to do it myself.
I hope that InBev buys you out, Drunken One, so that I can get distribution here in the state of Georgia. Ron, I think Ron's going to get off here, but I think he wanted to say something before he left. So,
as long as they don't change the prices of the product, I'm cool. And it goes to all of the beers that they bought out. So they bought out Lagunitas, whoever. Anyway, I don't care who they bought out, but as long as you don't change the product, just leave them be doing what they were doing.
Yeah.
All as well. You know, you can do what you want with your money, and I'll continue to buy it.
It says here that I guess that would be his wife, Sam Calagione. This is the founder of Dogfish Head Brewing Company. Sam and Maria Calagione will take nearly all the proceeds from the merger and estimate $120 million
Wow.
in stock of the combined company. And Sam Calagione will join the board of directors of Boston Beer in 2020. The Dogfish Head shareholders are expected to receive $173 million in cash. The merged company is going to be led by the current CEO of Boston Beer, Dave Berwick, and they say here at some point, I'm trying to find it where it says in here that they do talk about that they're, it says the company, I have no clue how this works. I'm not mad or angry. I'm just kind of clueless here. The companies say that they will retain their status as independent craft brewers.
I guess the point I'd like to make, if
go ahead.
if we remember back to when Constellation paid $1 billion for Ballast Point. I don't know if everybody remembers back. 1 billion with a B. This sounds like Boston Brewery made the best purchase you ever can. This sounds like the steal of the century. That was rated at 10 times their value that Constellation paid. This is only double the value of Dogfish Head that Boston Beer is paying. It is a steal. And I think Sam made a mistake. But again, I'm not one to criticize. If you want to take the bucks, take them.
Yeah, George Clooney and that partner of his, when they sold Casa Amigos tequila, same way. They made $1 billion straight up front. 1 billion.
Because think about it, Ballast Point is a major company, and they've actually, since it was purchased, have been on the decline, which is sad because Constellation is not getting the full effect on their purchase. But it's just the way it goes in the beer industry. Stuff flows.
Yeah, distribution is better. I can get a lot more Ballast Point beers now.
Okay, it is. So.
It's the same thing with the Casa Amigos tequila. Before, they wasn't using they were using more traditional methods. Since they've went into this corporation, since the corporation, I forget who it was, bought them out. I can't remember exactly. Anyway, but they paid $1 billion for it. Now they have really cut corners to make the tequila. They're still using George Clooney's face, and I can't think of his partner's name, face, as a face of the company to sell the tequila, but the quality of the tequila is just not there like it was in the beginning.
Yeah.
Maybe it's hard to maintain the same recipe because they have to cut corners to increase their profit margin.
Right.
Yes. And that's what we hope doesn't happen when AB InBev takes over things. Right. Don't change up our grains. Don't change up our recipes. Leave them like they were.
Yeah.
You can buy them all up, whatever, but leave the recipes alone. Like, I want my Mickey's, I want to be Mickey's, my Budweiser, I want to be Budweiser, whatever. I mean, just don't change shit. What you will, just keep buying the same grains you were buying before.
Yeah.
One of the things I'll jump in on that though
Go ahead.
is AB InBev also bought Northern Brewer, which is a homebrew supply shop online. I mean, so
they also bought out Blue Point too.
Yeah, they did.
But they sell like the stuff, a little bit cheaper. But they also have like a bigger hand. Like they get certain hops that other brewers can't get because they go in and basically buy it all out, or certain malts and stuff like that. So I think that they spread that. They lower the cost a little bit in that aspect as like a home brewer buying supplies.
Well, what's going to happen, Jesse, is the immediate. Okay, for example, I don't know what goes into Budweiser. Let's just say it's Fuggles. So
it's not corn, right? Not corn syrup.
Well, there's corn. Yeah, there's all that. There's not junk longer. It is what it is. Let's just say, for example, it's Fuggles. Okay, they're going to make sure that the Fuggles are going to go to make their beer. Now, if there's extra, then us homebrewers will be able to have some. Now, hops are a fickle crop, and sometimes it doesn't come through like we expect, and but they're going to make sure that their mass marketed breweries are going to have these Fuggle hops. Again, they're probably not Fuggles, and anyway, I'm just an example. So, as homebrewers, we're going to be the last ones to get those damn Fuggle hops because there needs to be enough to make their mass-produced product. So I don't know how it's all going to work. As long as they don't change our prices on things, I'm cool with it. I don't care where the money goes. It's all going to big money anyway. But I personally, I don't care. But they shouldn't count us homebrewers out as ones that use these particular products.
Right, but they do because we're small scale, and also we could end up being an enemy to them if we actually grew up and started our own brewery, which a lot of these craft industries, they started off as home brewers and they just
I get the idea. I get what you're saying about that. It feels like Michael Komarov had a thought on that, but my thought on that particular statement is I don't care how big your craft brewery is ever going to be. It's just you're never going to trump the big boys in the industry.
Right.
I'm not saying that they run the show. That's exactly not what I'm saying, but they have such just a place in the market itself, bar none, that no craft brewery is ever just going to stop an Anheuser-Busch. But I do want to hear, it sounded like Michael Komarov had something to bring to the table there.
What I was going to say, it's interesting that we're having still the greatest amount of growth in new breweries. It's still on a going up. It's not going down. There's more starting and more going every day as we're going on. So it's a good trend that we have going. The problem is, as time goes on, you wonder if you can buck these big, manufacturers who do have so much power in the marketplace. And like Drunken One was saying, if they can say, okay, we'll pay for all your hops. We want to buy your whole, in your field. We want all the hops. And they give them enough money that the farmer decides to sell it to them.
Yes,
and those hops can't go to Drunken One to make his home brew.
They monopolize the whole system. Yes, sir.
And that's a problem. That's a problem. Maybe the way to get around that is maybe there can be some smaller fish in it who can do their own operation to deal with some of these hop farmers and on a smaller basis distribute to the home brewers. I don't know if that can be done.
That's what I was just actually bringing up. It was on Brad Smith's channel. I don't know if anybody's on his YouTube channel, but he has the Bear Smith app and stuff like that. And he talks to various people. He does these little vlog videos where he basically interviews somebody and they talk about whatever subject they're going to talk about. And that was actually brought up that there are these craft hop producers and craft maltsters, and they're basically all joining together and putting out towards like the smaller craft breweries and home brewing and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
But Drunken One, you got to see the ones in Texas. Find some in Texas who can help you if you need it.
Oh, indeed, yeah, indeed, yeah. No, I so agree.
Yeah. So I just think that's interesting. They even talked about Yahoo Finance. They actually talked about that the market share for beer has fallen below 50%. They say that in the whole market share of alcohol, you have 49% of it, which is still going to beer. However, there's 35.6 of it, they say, goes to hard liquor, and the additional 15.4 is wine. So maybe, and that's according to the Beer Institute chief economist Michael Ulrich, yeah. And maybe they're thinking as companies together, I mean, they're thinking money, right? Why the fuck not? But they're thinking like if we're starting to see it decline, why can't two really big giants within what we consider craft beer to be, why can't they bring this thing, why can't they resurrect it and not resurrect it, but why can't they sort of turn the tides a little bit? Not personally, and I think Michael Komarov feels kind of the same thing that I do, which is I don't feel like it's going. For me personally, I don't feel like it's going down. If anything, it feels like it's going up. But maybe the problem is, and I've heard it from people, from various people that hang around with in my life, which is it seems like there's almost too much growth when it comes to breweries, and it becomes a very saturated market, and therefore it becomes kind of hard to stand out from the rest in that regard.
Good point. Yep. Good point.
It seemed like Michael, you had another thought on that.
No, I'm just thinking that what Bumpy's saying is really true. If we can get to the point where some of the smaller hop growers and stuff can consolidate within kind of a group, they can have a strong appeal to the local craft brewers and home brewers, and at least that way you can get your piece of the pie out of it. You're not caught where the big manufacturers are able to squeeze you out.
Right.
What's your thought on that, Ronnie S?
I'm just about to crack this.
He's like, I got this beer.
He's like, the hell with this. I'm drinking another left.
Well, you're drinking an InBev beer, big mass market beer.
Actually, it's an NV InBev.
Oh, is that New Zealand? Are we calling that New Zealand beer? All right.
Wait, did you say? I thought you said NZ earlier.
What is it? No, NV, like Nevada. Those are the two letters.
So how do you pronounce that beer, guys?
I think is it leaf or left?
It's Leffe.
I think it's left.
Like Leffe.
Left or Leffe.
Leffe, yeah, Leffe.
You ever tried a drunken one?
I have. It's been a long time ago, and I forget what it tastes like. I'd have to do it again to remember.
So I thought
it tastes like a beer, drunken one, but I recommend you go get it, man.
It tastes like a beer, he says. Well, that's a great description. That's a good stuff.
No, that's quoting the great Drewski.
So the only other information that I kind of have before we kind of put this to bed, I guess, is that let's see here. They did a press release. I don't have like a whole bunch of information. Yahoo Finance, they're saying the press release for the merger of Sam Adams, Boston Beer Company, and Dogfish Head. They said the press release announcing the details highlights that Calagione, Sam Calagione, is expected to be named the Boston Beer's board, or to be named to Boston Beer's board of directors by 2020. And Jim Cook is the chairman, and they say Boston Beer current CEO Dave Berwick, he's 50 years old, is expected to oversee the merger operation. However, industry insiders are speculating that Calagione, he's only 49 years old, could at some point in the role, considering the CEO, considering both founders share certain quirky entrepreneurial similarities, and the fact the deal crowned the Calagiones the company's largest non-institutional shareholders behind Cook by gaining more than 400,000 Boston Beer shares. So take that for what it is. It's certainly a business merger move, but does that bode well with the craft beer community? Does that does that make them feel distaste for the craft beer industry?
Craft beer.
I told you what the hell is craft beer anymore, right? John and Nelly.
Well, yeah, no. Okay, so it's not like you got a big company. I mean, they're both big craft breweries, but it's not like a macro is buying out a smaller company and obtaining the rights to their products.
Yep.
These are two big names in craft beer. I think it's probably a good thing. For distribution reasons, especially out west, because I live here on southeast, so I get both Dogfish Head and Sam Adams, like pretty much everything you can think of, except for the above 14% stuff, like the Worldwide Stout and all that great stuff that Michael and you guys get up there. But I do think my hope is that the Sam Adams seasonal beers will get better because of this. That's what I'm hoping comes from this, because Sam Adams has some pretty, run-of-the-mill.
John, how do you like the Sam Adams Summer Ale?
I thought I gave it a C when I did a review of it. I thought it was bland and just bleh. I think I think that two great beer minds, Sam Calagione and Jim Cook, I think them coming together, hopefully they will not, it's not just for the money. I mean, obviously that's a big part of it and the distribution, but I hope that they collaborate and they come up with some really good ideas and they put out some really good limited release beers.
I never thought about it that way, but I sure hope you're right, dude. I sure hope you're right.
I mean, that's my hope. I don't know.
Yeah.
But a big merger like this, one can hope that the two great minds will come up with some awesome stuff.
Shane's gonna drink an epic beer right now, and Drunken One's gonna say something. Yes, Drunken One.
Oh no, I was just saying, yeah, right. What I can say about Sam Adams is their beers are decently priced and they represent the style as well. They're not award-winning beers. None of them have ever been award-winning beers, but they all represent the style well. And so that's like the intro to craft beer. Okay, I'm going to be done talking now because Shane Fudge is holding up his nice-ass beer he's got there and swirling it around with the head looking so awesome.
He's got another craft beer that's going after corporate beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I got a lot for those guys, but
it's a little out of date, but I think it's going to be fine. It's
420. That's John and Nelly.
I mean, it's only a month old, Shane. It should be perfect.
Yeah, it's real nice.
See, I will say one thing about IPAs. You can try to pinpoint the date, but they always will go a little bit past the date because it can't be that set. There's just no way it can be that set. There has to be some interplay in it. It can't be exact. So I would say you don't want to go 2 months past. Then you start getting into trouble.
Okay, guys, I got to get off here.
Robert, take care. Maybe we'll see you on Sunday.
I hope so.
All right, Robert, enjoyed it, man.
Take care. Good seeing you.
Take care, Bear. Love you, baby. Oh wait, was that creepy? I didn't mean that to be creepy. I'm on your side, guys. I don't care. It's killing for you.
I say we all go grab another beer and let's take this off air.
Okay, Eric. It's been a lot of fun.
All right. On behalf of that was Whiskey Scout, Robert Hendricks. We got Shane Fudge swirling the beer. He's been drinking them beers. And we got Ronnie S. Leffe Blonde. We got Michael Kormeroff there in Brooklyn, New York.
Great to be with you again.
We had Jay Terrio.
Thanks,
and
Michael.
We have John in LA, and we have Jesse, known as Bumpy, up in New Hampshire. And there's Drunken One swirling a home brew. And we
had Jean Pierre as well.
And Jean
Pierre, yeah, you love John.
He did really good with his audio and his volume, and he sounded pretty nice tonight. So keep it up, John H. Pierre. Thomas Mel 75. Probably not next Wednesday for me, but we'll figure out if it's a Tuesday on my channel or Thursday. We'll get back to you all on that. So this has been quite the epic examination. Let's do it again. Until next time, cheers. Keep tasting those great beers, and
I'm
we'll
done.
Cheers. All soon.
And I'll try to get something that's not a B minus next time.